Hello, 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 everyone. And welcome to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Day, and it is a joy to greet you today. Wow, it is the last Monday in August 2023, the last Monday in August. I am in awe of today and that I get to live today. How about you? Let me know where you are tuning in from. A spiritual remedy is geared toward people in recovery, people who are looking to separate themselves from their weapons of mass distraction. What are these quote unquote weapons of mass distraction? Alcohol, drugs, sex, shopping, over shopping, debtors, people who are overeating, people who are who drama is a distraction, people with cell phone addictions, people who are just not necessarily living their best life. And what we do here at A Spiritual Remedy is we provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal recovery, for your transformation, so that you are living your best life and loving it. And this weekly show has been such a gift for me because it helps me by reminding me that I need to be in action and in the actions of living my best life and using spiritual tools and spiritual practices so that I'm enjoying my life. I got to tell you that yesterday I was in Santa Barbara and I had an amazing time in Santa Barbara yesterday. Um, wow, it was so cool. Let me just check and see who's hanging out with us today. There she is. No morning would be complete without you, Jan. Hey, how's it going? I'm so glad that you're with us this morning. I uh I was in Santa Barbara yesterday and uh, I got a chance to speak at a women's convention and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome to be able to just bring this message of spiritual tools and assisting and being a part of a community that is uplifting spiritual practices for our own transformation. Uh, what are you up to today, Jan? Is there anything that anybody wants to talk about? I have a topic that I want to talk about today, and I just want to check in with you all to see if there's anything that's up for you. I'm going to give it a moment while I shine on here. Well, today I want to talk about what if up. What if up? Today I want to talk about, yeah, I think I could add what if up on that. Today, what are you saying here, Jan? Usually what you say is where I am. All right. Well then let's check this out. I want to check out and I want to talk a little bit about um what it feels like to have, I don't know if it's inertia or if it is as we hear in sometimes in 12-step recovery, resting on our laurels. Resting on our laurels. And that is that, oh, you know what, at this state and at this part of my recovery of my life, things are going good. I don't want to rock the boat. I just want to coast right now and enjoy. And resting on our laurels is not necessarily basking and enjoying what we have, but it is indeed that sense of like, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing that right now. What's up, Rev Kev? Coming in from LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn now, so welcome. And resting on our laurels is really has this like underlying support of I'm fearful of moving forward. I'm uncertain about moving forward. Um, this is enough. I'm satisfied, but that fake I'm satisfied, because we are not necessarily at the goal yet. But like I'm just gonna coast here, not because I'm enjoying it, but because I'm a little bit afraid to move forward. And I'm wondering what that term resting on our laurels means to you, how you define inertia. How do you define inertia? It's that, that tendency to do nothing, to remain unchanged, and how that does not support life. Inertia, or resting on our laurels, does not support our living our best life. Now, it's one thing to take a vacation, right? Inertia and resting on our laurels is not vacation. It's not the reward. And when I think about moving forward, like the longer I'm sober, the longer I continue to practice spiritual principles in my life, it's not like I've arrived at a place where I can go, woohoo, I don't ever have to do this stuff again. I don't ever have to do this again. It's not like this graduation point, as much as it's about, wow, what's next? And what does, here's a question that I asked myself with 36 years of sobriety. I asked myself the question, how does my alcoholism show up today at 36 years sober? Because what we know about alcoholism is that it's a threefold disease, right? It's the physical allergy. So if there's any alcohol in your system and you be alcoholic, you cannot break it down to a place to where it just becomes, sugar and, leaves the body or becomes fat. For someone who is alcoholic with the allergy of alcoholism, it lays in the stomach and it doesn't break down enough, and it produces a phenomenon of craving, thus craving more of the acetone, craving more of the alcohol. And so that's what happens in the body. In the mind, there's a slight mental twist that says, hey, I haven't had a drink in 36 years. I've never tried a wine cooler. Let me try that. Or I've never tried this flavor or IPA or whatever else is happening out there with all these things. Never had it. I wonder what that's like. Let me taste it. That's the mental twist that suggests to me that just because I've had any length of sobriety that I could pick up a drink again. But there's also the spiritual malady, and that's why I love a spiritual remedy, because for the spiritual malady, the spiritual sickness, there is a spiritual remedy. And for people who are addicted or who suffer from alcoholism or any type of addiction, whether it be a substance or a behavior, there is a spiritual malady. There is that spiritual sickness, and that spiritual sickness I will define right now. That spiritual sickness is a sense of separation. That we believe and sense and have this sense or idea that we are separate from our source, that we are separate from spirit. And And the idea is that the remedy is to remember and to be engaged in practices that unite us with spirit. Not that we were ever separate in the first place, because it's an impossibility, but that we believe that we are. That we believe that we are separate from our source. And the truth of the matter is that it's an impossibility, that nothing can separate you from your source, that your source is living and breathing you, that higher power, that infinite intelligence is living and breathing you. And so when inertia happens, or when we begin to rest on our laurels, when we begin to just kind of like sit back and rest, like, oh yeah, like I ain't got jack dilly squat to do, I usually ask myself, what does my alcoholism look like today? Or what does my addiction look like today? Because what I know is that it can be cunning, baffling, and powerful, sneaky, in the sense that these little thoughts, when I start looking out there for the answers, instead of looking right here, deep within me, to that indwelling power and presence that is living me, and I start looking outside of me, when I turn away from my spiritual practices, and when I turn away from what has worked and what has helped to get me sober and sane, that the insanity begins to creep in, and that the idea that I'm separate from my source begins to creep in. Thank you, Sunny. Sunny says, laurel resting, shaking my head, danger zone. It can lead to taking daily miracles for granted. Oh my gosh, Sunny, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Resting on my laurels can lead to taking daily miracles for granted, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, that's just the way it's supposed to be. Like, that's just the way it is. And even though life is magnificent and all of these amazing things happen, by no means should I take them for granted, because they are indeed part of what makes our life so rich. Right? I pray to remain open to spiritual growth. Lately, I've been experiencing the apartness, apart from spirit. It doesn't last, but it seems to happen more in my life today. Wow, Jan, I appreciate you for sharing that as well. You know, one of the ways that we can begin, and I also want to highlight uh, from Vida Spiritual Learning Center, which is our host and why we get to come on here. Maladies stem from false beliefs and separation from spirit. So here we go, right? These maladies, and maladies is that Spanish word mal, or sickness. So Jan, when you say that you pray to remain open to spiritual growth because you've been experiencing this apartness, what I want to ask you is if you would go ahead and type in the chat, like, what are the thoughts and the words of separation, that what are those things? What's that stinking thinking and the feeling tone? Because you say you feel apart. Because it's important that as we begin to look at the sense of apartness, yeah, like I feel apart sometimes, and in the work that I get to do when I feel separate from my source, some of the words that come up for me are nothing good ever happens for me, which is a total lie, because my life is freaking amazing, right? Or things don't go my way. And it's true, they don't go my way, but they always come out for the highest good. I'm different. Thank you. I don't belong. I'm different, and I don't belong. And I gotta share with you yesterday, Jan, that I easily felt that I'm different and I don't belong, because I was in this room with all these people and they didn't look like me. And I got a chance to say that. I'm like, wow, like, and the thing is that we are all unique. We are all wonderfully and magnificently made. And the sense of I don't belong, I get to counter that with I belong everywhere I am, because who I am is spirit. I'm the unique, unrepeatable way that spirit shows up in human form. Jan and everybody else watching today, you are the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent, powerful way that spirit, that life is showing up in human form. And to the degree in which we recognize that for ourselves, to the degree in which we become steeped in recognizing it, not from a place of like, conceited or cockiness or like, yeah, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, because guess what? Each of us, all of us, are the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent way that spirit shows up in human form. Therefore, that which is true of spirit is true about you. It's true about me. And when I begin to recognize that for myself, and then, because sometimes I might know it for you, but I might not know it for me, you know, this begins to fill me up with that, wait a minute, I'm neither better than nor less than. And what if I'm right? There goes the what if that I got to tie in, Rev Kev. What if up, right? What if I am right? Sunny Day says, thank you for these powerful reminders. Absolutely. That's why we come, on Monday mornings and we hang out, or we watch this, or we share this with our friends, because we get to be reminded of the truth of who we are. Bill Wilson, in the book Alcoholics Anonymous, on page 55, he says that deep down within every man, woman, and child, and if I were to rewrite that today, deep within each of us is the fundamental idea of God. And later on that page, Bill Wilson says the great reality can only be found within. And he says great reality, but he uses capital G, capital R. The great reality can be found within. In the final analysis of all of it, when it is all said and done, the great reality can be found within. In other words, we get to look inside of us, right where we are. That living spirit, that thing that animates us, is higher power, is source. In the meantime, I'm over here thinking when I'm in my separation, I'm over here thinking that I'm my race, my age, my skin color, my gender. I think I'm my socioeconomic class. I think I'm whatever titles or education level. I think I'm my intellect. I think I'm my nationality. But when we actually set those aside, like the set aside prayer says, right, that we set that aside, when we set that aside, all these accessories, when I put my name aside and my titles aside and my age aside and my race aside, when I put my orientation aside, when I put my gender aside and my national status aside and my religion aside, what is left? What's left? What's left as I clear out all of these social identities? And what's left when I clear out all of these social identities is what's left is that I am presence, that spirit, that life force, that source. And to the degree in which I begin connecting with that on a regular basis and recognizing that my social identities those are my accessories, beloved. Those are your accessories. That's just how you get to navigate on this planet. Right? These are the accessories. This is like, but who we are is spirit. Who you are is spirit, and nothing can separate you from that. The only thing that separates us from that is the belief that it is so. And so that's why our practice on a daily basis, especially when we're resting on our laurels, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'm afraid. Or when we're in inertia, when we're not changing and not moving and not growing, this is where we get to kind of go, oh yes, my spiritual practice. Jan says, your words is spiritual food that I need. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that Rev Kev behind the scenes says accessories, access or ease. Right? And if do I access it? Access that indwelling power and presence. So I'm glad you got it. We are at time. And I want to share with all of you that in the month of August, actually on August 12th, if you're in the Southern California area, I want to invite you to the Vida Spiritual Learning Center open house. It is in Huntington Beach. We have a great office there where we're going to be doing hybrid classes and courses for your spiritual enrichment. A lot of them will be online, so we'll be using technology, and some of them will be in person. So if you want to come and feel the heat of another human being and be eye to eye, that we're going to be having a lot of courses and classes. In the meantime, text me your gratitude. I will text you my gratitude back and forth, because what I know is what we appreciate appreciates, and I appreciate you. Make sure that you visit our website, vidaslc.org. That's vidaslc.org. And there you can find out what's happening in this spiritual learning community. Until next Monday, know that you are loved and appreciated. Bye for now.